In the NFL, free agency is a high-stakes game where billion-dollar franchises bet big on star power, hoping to find that one player who can change everything.
Pick six! Down to the 10!
But sometimes the gamble backfires. The player underperforms, the locker room fractures, the contract becomes a franchise-crippling disaster. Today, we're diving into the biggest free agency flops in NFL history. Signings that didn't just disappoint, they derailed entire seasons, cost coaches their jobs, and in some cases, haunted the teams for years. From overpriced quarterbacks to washed-up superstars, these are the worst free agent signings the NFL has ever seen.
The 105th NFL season is underway. Turn on the afterburners. He's gone.
Number 8. Kenny Gallay, New York Giants, 2021. In Detroit, Kenny Gallay looked like a rising star with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and a league-leading 11 touchdown receptions in 2019. The Giants believed they were getting a true wide receiver one when they gave him a 4-year, $72 million deal in 2021. But once he arrived in New York, the wheels came off. Gallay battled injuries from the start, and when he did play, he struggled to separate from defenders, lacked explosiveness, and looked disengaged.
Oh, man, I want to be a part of it big time. I'm trying everything to get back out there. I never even, been a part of a team that went 6-1. I'm trying to do everything to get back out there.
Whether it was the coaching carousel, Daniel Jones's inconsistency, or Galladay's own regression, nothing worked. He finished his Giants tenure with just 43 receptions and 1 touchdown. It was a swing for a top-tier receiver and ended with a thud. And if you think that gamble went wrong, wait until you hear about the next one, where the team paid over $50 million for a running back who hadn't played a snap in over a year. Number 7. LeVeon Bell, New York Jets, 2019. LeVeon Bell was once the NFL's premier dual-threat back, a patient runner with elite hands. But after sitting out the entire 2018 season over a contract dispute, his stock was uncertain. The Jets, desperate for a spark, gave him a massive 4-year, $52.5 million contract with $35 million guaranteed. Almost instantly, it became clear that this was a poor fit. Bell landed in an Adam Gase offense that never utilized his receiving ability. The Jets' offensive line was a disaster, and Gase didn't want Bell to begin with, a toxic combo. Bell's production plummeted, averaging just 3.2 yards per carry in his first season. A year later, he was cut midway through the season, with almost none of that guaranteed money justified. Bell's decline was dramatic, but at least he had a track record. Our next player cashed in big just after 7 career starts. Number 6, J.C. Jackson, Los Angeles Chargers, 2022. J.C. Jackson earned the nickname Mr. INT in New England, grabbing 17 interceptions over 2 seasons.
J.C. Jackson, think he should be on the top 100?
For sure. JC go be in the top 100 for sure.
Another corner that I like is J.C. Jackson.
So when the Chargers gave him a 5-year, $82.5 million deal, it looked like the perfect addition to a rising defense. But Jackson never looked comfortable in LA. The man-heavy specialist was forced into more zone coverage under the Chargers system, and it showed. He gave up big plays, committed costly penalties, and struggled with communication. Things went from bad to worse when he suffered a ruptured patellar tendon just 5 games in, a serious injury that's notoriously difficult to recover from. Even after returning in 2023, Jackson was benched and eventually traded back to New England. The Chargers paid top dollar for a shutdown corner and ended up with a short-lived liability. Speaking of short-lived, the next contract we're looking at lasted just 1 season and involved a quarterback who fooled an entire franchise based on a handful of games. Number 5, Brock Osweiler, Houston Texans, 2016. After going 5-2 while filling in for Peyton Manning in 2015, Brock Osweiler became one of the most hyped free agents on the market. The Texans, desperate for stability under center, gave him a staggering 4-year, $72 million deal, despite the fact that he'd never started a full season. And well, It showed. Osweiler struggled with accuracy, pocket presence, and decision-making. He threw more interceptions than touchdowns, routinely missed open receivers, and looked overwhelmed from the jump. Houston's offense stalled, and despite backing into a playoff win, the experiment was clearly a bust. Less than a year after signing him, the Texans paid Cleveland to take his contract, essentially turning Osweiler into an NBA equivalent of a salary dump. But if you think that deal was short-sighted, wait until you see what happens when a defensive superstar changes teams and suddenly forgets how to cover. Number 4, Nami Asamoah, Philadelphia Eagles, 2011. At his peak, Nami Asamoah was a shutdown corner, so dominant in Oakland that quarterbacks simply avoided him. In 2011, he was the crown jewel of Philly's much-hyped dream team, signing a 5-year, $60 million deal. But in Philly, Asamoah looked ordinary. The Eagles asked him to play off coverage and cover slot receivers, roles that didn't suit his physical man-to-man skill set. The result? He was constantly beaten, looked stiff in coverage, and was often out of position. Within 2 seasons, the once elite corner was released and out of the league a year later. But at least Asamoah's deal came with proven credentials. The next one? A Super Bowl ring and a whole lot of false hope. Number 3, Nick Foles, Jacksonville Jaguars, 2019. Nick Foles became a Philly legend in 2017, leading the Eagles to a miraculous Super Bowl win. The Jaguars hoped that lightning would strike twice when they gave him a 4-year, $91 million deal with $50 million guaranteed. It didn't. Foles broke his collarbone in Week 1. When he returned midway through the season, he looked hesitant and completely out of sync. After just 3 starts, he was benched for rookie Gardner Minshew. Foles finished the season with more interceptions than touchdowns, and Jacksonville traded him away the following spring, eating a huge chunk of guaranteed money in the process. But if you think that's bad, imagine paying $100 million to a player who refused to get in shape, called out coaches, and barely tried on Sundays. Number 2, Albert Haynesworth, Washington, 2009. Albert Haynesworth was a dominant force in Tennessee, a 2-time All-Pro defensive tackle who wrecked offensive lines. Washington rewarded him with a 7-year, $100 million contract and got a cautionary tale in return. From the start, Haynesworth clashed with coaches and showed little interest in working hard. He infamously failed a basic conditioning test at training camp, criticized the team's 3-4 defensive scheme, and looked disinterested on the field. His production plummeted and his attitude made things worse. 2 seasons later, he was shipped off to New England for a late-round pick. The contract became a league-wide punchline and remains one of the most regrettable signings in NFL history. That is, until 2024. Because our number 1 free agent bust is still unfolding, and it's already a disaster. Number 1, Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons, 2024. Kirk Cousins was never elite, but he was dependable, a top 12 quarterback who could keep a solid offense humming. But in 2023, while playing MVP caliber football, he tore his Achilles with the Vikings, ending his season prematurely. That didn't stop the Falcons from offering him a 4-year, $180 million deal, betting that Cousins at 36 and coming off a major injury could be the answer. The result? A mess.
It's healing up. We're 6 months and change in. I was told 9 months when I did it was kind of the timeline, August 1st.
Cousins looked slower, less decisive, and noticeably limited in mobility. His deep ball lacked zip, and he threw more interceptions than expected. The offense sputtered, and by the end of the season, he was benched for rookie Michael Penix Jr. Now, the Falcons are locked into one of the most expensive contracts in the league, with no guarantee that Cousins starts another game. It's a high-priced gamble that already looks like one of the worst decisions in modern free agency. Free agency can be a game changer, but it's also a minefield. These signings were supposed to elevate their franchises. Instead, they became cautionary tales of poor fit, bad timing, and inflated expectations. Did we miss anyone? Who do you think is the worst free agent signing of all time? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth NFL content from Primetime Sports. Thanks for watching.